Okay, so here's our third video on this project, and you can see I've come back and kind of put this purple paint to use going over some of the stuff that's there. So I've gotten a few surprises that I like. I took a pencil, an old pencil, and I just dipped it in the paint, and I find that the kind of mark that I'm getting with that kind of crossed here, I like it for the kinds of things that are happening with the hair. That's a mark I discovered. I would not have been able to deliberately paint it that way with a brush. So I use that a good deal up in here, and I feel pretty comfortable with this eye and some of the stuff that's happening with the nose. Although I think there are some things that aren't that great about it at this point. I got the mouth back in there again. I kind of like that. Um, and it sort of started to look like I was looking a little bit more that way, not straight out. So I started to define the edge of the nose here and make it look a little bit more like a three-quarter portrait by having, a little bit more of an indication of like neck over here coming down. But I'm not super happy right now with this eye. So you can see I'm going to get a brush, which I have a little bit more control with. And I feel like because this, is looking like three-quarter, that this eye now feels like it's too far out that way. The paint's still a little bit wet, so I'm going to have to kind of deal with that. But all I'm going to do is just sort of like paint over that area so that that's kind of gone. And then I can come back again with my pencil and start drawing the eye a little bit closer in and sort of establish eyebrows and things like that to get that to feel a little bit more like what I want it to. Now it's a little bit dark right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it dry, but I can always come back in with just a little bit of paint and say, okay, let's lighten that back up and give it yet another try. I also sort of like the way that outside of my face it starts to get to be this kind of gray. So I'm going to come back in now with the charcoal and just sort of shade this negative space a little bit. Maybe come back with my newspaper and soften some of that to define that edge a little bit more. But then I'm not going to do too much more to this. I'm just going to let that paint dry a little bit up there and leave that as kind of open, that it's not, doesn't look finished everywhere, but that some of it is more finished than other parts. As a matter of fact, I am going to brighten that edge of the nose there just a little bit. So I just got to wait for that paint to dry and come back and touch up this eye. And when I get that feeling good, I think I've got something that I like. There, it doesn't look exactly like me, um, but it doesn't look complete. But I think there are some fun things that happen because I kept trying new things and didn't get too concerned about it looking perfect the first time I touched it.